let's dive deeper into your spine and your mind. Last module, you learned about your triad of change, how in healing and in life, it's a combination of your structure, behavior, and perceptions that make any change and progress easy to sustain. It becomes an intrinsic part of you then, at a higher level of health. In this module, we'll be exploring about the impact of your spine on your mind. And hopefully through this, you'll be empowered then to use your mind in a way that helps your spine. It's a little bit of the behind-the-scenes magic. Dr. Donnie Epstein, developer of Network Spinal, first developed network chiropractic in the late 70s and 80s by discovering that as the spine distorted in different ways, there were different patterns or phases of neural tension. These phases affect your structure, your function, and your experience of the world in characteristic ways: structure, behavior, and perception. By now you may be understanding that you literally live your life through your nerve system. How the shape, position, tension, and tone of your spine affects the shape, position, tension, and tone of your life. Well, on that, there are 5 classical phases, each one affecting your postural structure, neural behavior, and perception in different ways. How each phase affects you depends on how healthy you are and what season you're in. FYI, this is what's being checked like every time you're on the table, when we're checking the tension in your Achilles tendon, the leg length, being asked to turn your head to the right, to the left, all that stuff, we're checking for what phase is up. Now, starting at the beginning, you've probably known someone who's been stuck in the past, and perhaps you've been stuck there too. That's phase 1. There's nerve tension related to your sacrum and your skull bone to keep protecting you against something from the past, or recreating the past when it no longer helps when you're stuck. You may have had an injury or event years ago that still affects you today. How does this show up in your perception? At a low level of health, when it's time to discover, you feel like the past is the reason you're hurt, and you are not happy about this. You literally see the world through glasses that show you all the reasons your past has hurt you and will keep hurting you. Now, the fact of the matter is, this just ain't so. What happened in the past does not dictate your future. 98% of the atoms in your body are replaced yearly. Every 2 to 9 days you have a new stomach. Every 10 to 30 days you have a new suit of skin. Every 4 months you receive a whole new tank of blood. The slowest cell turnover occurs in the heart, in the brains, and in our fat. Yeah, we all knew that last one. And even those cells grow, change, and heal. So why do you rebuild old stuff? Remember, you literally live your life through your nerve system. If your nerve system is distorted in this particular function, when you are stuck in phase 1 and only have the energy to handle discover, you rebuild the past, even when it provides no benefit, because it's all you have the energy to do. As you get healthier and it's time to transform, you realize that what you thought was an old wound is actually just a present habit of thought and belief, and you can choose to make the best of that experience in the present. As you get even healthier and your spine has strategies for the season of awaken, when you can handle that bandwidth of energy, you realize that the wounds have been repeating because you've forgotten the gifts of those experiences. And it's time to gratefully share those gifts with others. The second pattern. You probably know someone who always seems to be afraid or angry, right? In phase 2, you experience nerve tension related to your upper or lower neck, your first vertebra, or around the 5th. Both flight and fight relate to trust. The upper neck version of this, the flight side, seems more related to fear of the future. When this part of you is in discover, time feels like your enemy. You might freeze up at approaching deadlines or feel anxious, fearing there's not enough time. We're not going to make it. When your health is in transform, you recognize that time is actually currency, and how you choose to spend it determines the outcome. You choose to spend it wisely. You get even better at accomplishing more in less time. When your health calls for and can handle the energy of awaken, that high level of energy, you realize you've been afraid you wouldn't have time to give your gift and to experience love. So you make time for that gladly. The fight side of this equation, C5, is more related to anger or mistrust of people, them. In discover, you feel like you can't trust your instincts with people, that you'll be hurt if you trust people. You especially don't trust emotional or angry people. And the irony is you're angry about that. You've seen fights on social media that illustrate this perfectly. That's why I laugh. Just consider the posture most people are in while texting. It encourages this perception. In Transform, for this phase, you start questioning your stories about who can and cannot be trusted. And you stop beating yourself and others up. Instead, you make healthier choices about how you show up to make relationships great. In Awaken, there's enough health available for this aspect of your nerve system to realize that mistrust occurred truly because you forgot to trust in life. You forgot to see yourself and others as soul. You forgot the heart. It's time to bring that forward. Third pattern, you've seen people get stuck in all the shoulds, right? In the rules and the roles. And when you do that, you really have no idea who you are. Enter phase 3. In this phase, you experience nerve stress involving your pelvis. When it's time for the season of Discover, this pattern makes you like a chameleon. You instinctively become whoever you're around and change yourself based on what others are feeling or being. It's not a choice, it just happens instinctively. You also will emotionally react strongly to shoulds, to rules, to obligations. You can't tell me, without really thinking them through. This is a cultural survival strategy to stay safe and save alive. And when your nerve system is getting healthier, stronger, more adaptable, when this phase is able to express and transform, you realize how much you've changed yourself in order to fit in, to be culturally accepted, and rather than react, you start personally choosing your identity and the culture of your life. You update your sense of self. You can choose. When it's time for the season of Awaken, you realize that the pain of this was simply because you'd forgotten who you truly are is bigger than any rules, any culture, any subculture, any choices. You remember that knowing who you are as a soul will always lead you to the best possible choices. Fourth pattern. Well, other people with whom you're probably familiar think emotions are weaknesses that happen to other people, right? Clearly not you. Who, depending on their generation, seem like Spock or Sheldon. Total head cases with no real emotions. Phase 4 involves nerve stress affecting your mid-neck, C2 and 3. In Discover, you're like a control freak because you physically and neurologically cannot handle change. You go hyper-rational to avoid emotions and tend to shut down other people's emotions. You hate uncertainty. As this gets healthier and transform, there's enough health and energy available to realize emotion is fuel for change. That taking action and making progress requires a new range of emotions. You redefine your stories about emotion and make room for emotion in your identity. When it's time for the energy behind Awaken, when there's room for that much level of health and energy, you realize you've shut down simply because you've forgotten your passionate nature. You recognize that passion is the life force that inspires all of creation. And through this thoroughly illogical energy, it makes life amazing. Okay, bottom of the barrel here, folks. And if you have folks who feel like that sometimes, welcome to phase 5. If you always feel like you've been screwed over, taken advantage of, there's just not enough, we're at the bottom of the barrel, this is the most intense nerve stress. When the nerves affecting your neck and tailbone are contracting into each other. When there's only enough energy available, when your nerve system can only handle enough energy for the season of Discover, it feels like you're living in survival. Like there's not enough energy, not enough healing, not enough possibility. And it feels like a personal attack if someone says otherwise, or that it's all your fault. And you are not happy about this. Things are breaking down. When your nerve system can handle the energy for transform, when you are ready for that, when you claim it, you break through the reasons why you have less choices and resources, and you make the very best of the resources available. Now that there's health available, you start using your experience of less than as fuel on the fire to generate more than ever before. When your spine and nerve system are in the season of Awaken, there is enough health available to realize you only felt less than because you forgot that what seemed to be taken from you became the thing that you can give abundantly. Like the wounded healer, you are tuned in to the needs of others who have felt that way before, and you can do something about it. If you remember that giving love is never a burden, and that love is always available to give, then even a wound becomes a gift. Quite an adventure, yes? That's just the perception side of things through those 5 phases. Rest assured, I'm working with the other parts. Your spine is a big picture. Indeed, you literally live your life through your nerve system. What phase sounded the most like you? And in what season? Where's your center of gravity? What phase sounds like the one where you've made the most progress? Celebrate that. What phase sounds like the one that comes up when you get stressed or have symptoms? As you partner with Intrinsic in network spinal care, there's no ceiling to how far your health can go. You really can live the life you choose, the life you're called to live, rather than being stuck with your spine and your health defining your life. Thank you.